Hello. In this video, I'm going to go over JSServices Clearbox automated trading application for NinjaTrader 7. The application provides a customizable template to create and execute automated trading strategies that mirror the Playbook strategy tactics. The application integrates into your workflow with the JS desktop and NT price map chart overlay. So we're taking a look at the market. Notice the S&P is in a bull trend. We have sentiment way below the market, and we like that this situation, when the market is trading up near the upside pivot, we can get an exhaustive signal. So we look at our strategy playbook, and we do have a reversal strategy, a sell UP reversal, and we also have a sell DIR breakout to the downside. We can see that the market has already made a move above the alert distance here, triggering a false breakout by failing here, so we're already in a sell UP reversal. So we can go to our control center, and I've created a portfolio of trading templates that mimic the playbook strategies. So you can see buy DIR fade, buy DP fade. Here we have a sell UP reversal, and since the market is already in the reversal, I'm going to execute a sell UP fade. So instead of having the market have to come back above here, if it comes back down below this level, it's going to execute a fade. So all I need to do is click this, and it's going to enable that. So here we have what we call our Playbook Assistant, and here it tells us we're trading the ES, and it also gives us a little insight of what's the market structure bias. We're in an uptrend, that's positive. This market's in a bull trend. We have a sentiment is positive because we're above the R level, so the R level is at 2384.50, and this is just telling us that the market is 28.5 handles away from the R level, and the average price map distance is almost 9.5 points. This strategy is a sell UP fade. It's enabled, and we have some other metrics that will come into play if we get filled. So what will happen on this fade is the market's going to need to trade back below here before it will execute. If I want to just play this range, I've got a sell signal here that I might want to leverage up on if I get it, but if it goes higher, I'd like to participate in the upside. We could run a buy UP breakout, or since the market is currently trading within this range, a breakout would have to start here. We could run another buy UP fade. So here we find our strategy and enable it. So here I have two strategies running. I've got my sell UP fade, so if the market trades below here, it's going to execute a sell fade strategy, and if the market trades above this level here, it's going to initiate a buy UP fade. Each strategy needs to have its own chart associated with it. So what I like to do is I like to have my strategies running, and I have a clean chart as well. So this is a buy UP fade. So the market needs to come above the alert distance to be the conditional alert to make a fade true. And once that is true, our criteria will determine where our orders are placed.
Order pending.
So on my algo, the way I've constructed it is I have one order that's placed a few ticks above the variance and one a couple ticks below the variance. So these are my resting orders. This was the trigger, and now I'm waiting for a pullback to fade back into it. And we can also see our working orders here in the control center. I'm working on one lot at 24.14 and two at 24.13 1/4. That's been designed in the strategy. If I wanted to edit these orders, I could do that. So let's say I want to move it up and come in here, change that to 1450, and that's going to move my order up to the alert distance. I'm going to move my other order up to the variance. you're not able to drag the orders on the chart. So when the Playbook Assistant is active, the Trade on the Charts feature is inactive. So you can either, and this is a function of NinjaTrader 7, you can either run Trade on the Charts and trade discretionary, or if you want to run automated systems, then you run it with the automated strategies. So here our initial order is filled, and we are working another order at 1350. So you can use the control panel to view your orders, executions, what your position is, and what strategies are running. So on the strategy overview, the ones that are checked are enabled, and we can see that our performance here. And also the Playbook Assistant Risk Monitor is active. So this is a nice feature where it shows you what your P&L last is. It'll show you the P&L high and the P&L low. So right now this thing has gone negative from the get-go, and we have a P&L low of minus a tick. So now we've had a tick in our favor, a tick against us, and so at the moment this is our profit give back. So when we go from a P&L high of 1250 to 0, we've given back 100% of our profit. And so at this point in the initiation it's not that interesting, but as we start to move away, we get some money in our favor, then the profit giveback is going to be critical. This also shows us the price high that created the P&L high and the price low that created the P&L low. Tells us what our net position is, and this also shows us our realized net. So we're trading two entries. We've got entry 1, entry 2. So if the entry 1 and 2 were filled and the entry 1 exited, but the entry 2 still had a position, then this would just show the realized net. The strategy max profit meter tells us how close we are getting to our target. And we can see here we have a target order at 24.23, and this target is coming in through the upside target 1. So we always want to sell in front. So we're going to take this order and we're going to move it down in front. So you can kind of expand this to see. So we want to come in around the variance or the alert distance, so maybe around 24.20 and a half. So I go to my orders and I find my limit, and I'm going to change that to 20 and a half. And now I'm in front of my figure. I only got filled on 1, so that's my target, and then this is going to continue to monitor my P&L. This also tells me the time till the close, and also it shows me what time the strategy is going to exit. If we set a maximum daily drawdown, this is going to fire up and tell us how close, what percent we are to that drawdown. So you can enter in what you want your max daily drawdown to be, and this will help monitor it. So how do we create these strategies? So let's take a look at, find some other markets. We've got the Russell and the 5-year are in a aggressive buy posture. Let's just take a look at the 5-year, see what that's doing. So that's kind of performing to expectation. Well, not so much. It's bid above the directional. It's holding firm more sideways, so that's not that interesting. The Canadian dollar is also in an aggressive market state. Let's take a look at that. And that market is starting to break structure here. So the Canadian dollar is generating a sell signal here below the directional. So let's put together an automated strategy that can take advantage of a move from the directional down to the R level. So the first thing we want to do is we come here to the strategies, we click that button, and we want to load the Playbook Assistant. So we hit new, and that brings up our trading template. So first thing we're going to do is we want to sell this market. We're going to execute a sell DIR fade. So we have short dir fade. So we'll take a look at the entry module. So on the entry module, we have a few things that we need to consider. We have to have it enabled. We're going to use an EXAD, which is an entry-exit adjustment differential. So what the EXAD is, it's really a differential. So we have, here's our price map level, we have our variance, our alert distance, and then we're defining our entry level 1. And we want to define, do we want a tick variance from the price map level, or a tick variance from the variance level, or a tick variance from the alert distance? And that's what this EXAD number is. So this is telling us that I want a 3-tick variance. I want that to be fixed. This could be randomly selected by the machine. And I want to work off the price map level. So I'm working off the price map level, and I'm using a 3-tick fixed EXAD. And so that's where it's going to place the order when it's triggered. Next thing I need to do is set my quantity, and then we're going to set our stop. So we can have our stop EXAD. So instead of being on the entry, this is going to be on the exit, and it'll be the same thing. We can either have it set random or fixed. And what stop level are we working off of? In this example, we're working off the alert distance. So here we have our entry. We know the EXAD is 3, and now we're working on our stop. So the stop is working off the alert distance, so that's through the price map level. And we have an EXAD of 2 ticks, and it's random. So the machine's randomly going to select, is it going to be 1 tick through the alert distance, or is it going to be 2 ticks through the alert distance? The target is going to work a little differently. So with the target's based off an average price map distance, or APMD. And this is a multiplier of that. So this is going to go for 1.5 APMDs. And on that target, we're going to adjust it by 5 ticks. And it's going to be fixed. So it's always going to be 5 ticks in front of 1.5 APMDs. Whatever 1.5 APMDs comes out to be, it's going to subtract 5 ticks from that. And in our example, if we have a target that actually goes through a price map level, and it's a cell, and this is our 1.5 APMD target level. Here's our 5-tick adjustment, and this is our original target exit order. What we'll want to do is manually adjust that. So if it's through the price map level, you can manually adjust it so that's in front of a price map level. So we go through and we can set our entry EXADs and level. We change this to 2 ticks. I'm going to go fixed. I'm going to have it execute off the variance. Do a 2-lot. On my stop, I'm going to tighten this up. So I'm going to use 2 ticks. Make that fixed, and I'm going to go off the alert distance for my stop. I'll go for 2 APMDs. I'll use a 5-tick EXAD, and I'll keep that random. I'm also going to execute a second order, so then I'll need to set this. And I'm going to have this execute off the alert distance. I'm going to do a 1-lot here, and I'm going to use my maximum stop distance, and I'm going to use my variance. And then I'm going to make my EXAD fixed, and I'm going to use the variance as a stop. I'm going to target 1 APMD, and I'm going to make that a fixed adjustment. We've already defined this is the direction. This is a short. It's from the directional, and we're looking to execute a fade. Next thing we identify is the price map, and the symbol is auto detected. So if typically you don't have to specify what symbol, the application will pick it up from whatever chart that you're working on. If you change this to false, then you'll need to define the contract symbol here, what the JS symbol is. But I recommend that you just keep this as true and have the machine recognize it. The start time here references what price map time you're grabbing. So what this is saying is at 5:30 the evening prior, that's the price map that we want to use. So markets roll over at 5:30. Even though the price map is not always updated at 5:30, having your template set to grab that data, then you won't be grabbing the previous session's data. Here we need to enter our XML path of where does the JS data file live, similar to the price map chart overlay in NinjaTrader. So it's going to be in your users, your username, in your documents, JSServices directory. And then we need to specify the name of the file, and it should be under jsdata.xml. So in the playbook section, we've edited that before. It's either going to be a long or a short. We want to do a short. You can create strategies off all these different price map qualifiers. We've included the major ones. Once we get beyond the UTDT2, we don't recommend creating strategies, so we don't have any in there, but you can create them off the critical range positive and negative and the critical range extreme positive and negative, along with the other action qualifiers. And so this is going to be a sell DIR, and then the types are either a fade, breakout, or reversal right from the playbook. So on the type and the fade, breakout, reversal, it's going to, same convention that we teach. What's important to understand about each of these strategies is that there are conditional alerts associated with them. So for a fade strategy, we're fading momentum into a figure, fading above for a buy, fading into below. A fade, to be a fade, the market has to be above the market by a certain amount, so you're fading it in. What we've done is we've just used the alert distance as our conditional alert. So for a fade, the conditional alert is the market has to be above the alert distance first, and then we can fade into it. At this time, this is a non-modifiable criteria, but you need to understand that every fade strategy has this condition. It has one alert, and that alert says it needs to be in front of that figure. So you can use a fade tactic for a lot of different types of entries, but this is the key criteria, that there's a conditional alert. For a breakout strategy, it has two conditional alerts. One, the market has to start below, for a buy breakout, below the alert distance, then move through it, through the alert distance, to then trigger a breakout signal. And so those are the two conditional alerts. Alert 1 has to be on the opposing side, and alert 2 through the figure to confirm a breakout. And then the strategy is free to enter, and that's where your entry criteria will come in. For a reversal, you have actually three conditional alerts. So what we've coded in is using the alert distance has to be above, below the alert distance, and then through it, and that determines that yes, this is a reversal strategy and a reversal's in play. So if you come into a market and you're looking for an exhaustive reversal signal, and the market is trading here, so it's already trading below your figure. If you run the reversal strategy, the market will have to rally back up above here, break back below here, and then come up here to trigger the reversal. Another option is to run a buy R fade. So we'll run this strategy. And so what will happen is you'll get the same effect because the market will need to trade above here before it's triggered. This is another good tool to use if the market does not, let's say you have a reversal running, but it does not attain the alert distance. Maybe it bottoms out around the variance, and you want to get in the market. If it does reverse, you could run a fade strategy as well, and then if the market does move above the alert distance, it will trigger. So the Clearbox template has a profit trail management system, and so to enable it, you need to make it true.
Order canceled.
So we'll walk you through this. We'll come in, we're going to use profit trail. And so this has to do with the activation metric and multiplier. So what this is saying that yes, I want to use profit management, and I want the profit management to start at 40 ticks. So when I have 40 ticks of profit, I want to lock it in. So on the metric, we're using ticks, and so the multiplier of that metric is 40. If I wanted to, I could use my market metrics. So I could say that if I get a alert distance of profit, and this would be a multiplier of that alert distance. So if I want one alert distance, I would put activate my profit trail when I achieve at least one alert distance. And how much do I want to lock in? What's my minimum profit lock-in? Well, if I'm using ticks, I can say once I get alert distance of 1, I'm going to use another metric, and let's say I'm going to use a variance, and I'm going to use a variance of 1. So in this example, I'm using my activation once I achieve an alert distance of profit, lock in 1 variance. So I recommend that if you're going to use ticks for your lock-in, and if you're going to use metrics as your lock-in. So in this situation, if I get 40 ticks of profit, I want to lock in 20. The next thing that we can do is we can trail that. So that's just the first adjustment. The first adjustment basically says, okay, if I get 40 ticks of profit, if that drops to only 20 ticks of unrealized profit, it's basically going to adjust our stop, and it's going to get us out of the market. Now we can also use a delta adjustment. Same thing, if you're using ticks here, you probably want to use ticks for your delta adjustment. You can use metrics as well. So if we're using ticks here, once I get an additional 15 ticks of profit, then I want to lock in 10. So my first adjustment's at 40. If that goes up to 55 ticks of profit, now I'm going to add 10 to this, and so I'm going to lock in 30. So you have two, and to make them both work, you need to make sure that this is set at true. So now I have my initial allow profit management, yes, and I also want to trail that. The next thing we have is our risk monitor, and here we can set our max D. So if you have a mandate or just for yourself and you want a daily max D, you can type that in here, and this is in dollars. If you have a mandate that you can't lose more than a max D, you'd want to change this, and that was 1,000. You might want to change this to 900 or 850, just to make sure that you cover your slippage. Here we need to name the strategy, and so we're going to use our naming convention. I like to use the contract symbol so that because every single strategy has to have a chart associated with it. And so that way when we pull it up in the strategy tab, we know that this is a Canadian dollar sell DIR fade strategy. On the times, this is going to tell us what time if we do have a position, what time that position will exit. And so I like to do that off the close, before the close. The last trade time identifies when is the last time that this strategy will be accepting orders, and I want to give myself at least a half hour of trading, if not more. So this will stop accepting trades at 2:30 in the afternoon, and if we do have a position on, it's going to exit any position at 3 o'clock. If you don't want to see the trade times on the chart, you can set that to false. The start time identifies the time this strategy will start trading, and I have this one set at 2 a.m. And this is just a personal preference, what color, if you want to see these times on the chart, what color do you want those lines to be. If you're once you start creating strategies, you want to test them in simulation. This is the adjustment where you can put set your account, what account you want to trade on. So after you go and you confirm that your strategies are working properly, then you can go into production. This one, these are some kind of default settings that you don't really need to change. This calculates every tick. If you change that to true, it'll calculate the end of the bar close. You don't want to do that. We do want to enable this strategy, and we'll do that at the end. We're going to change that to true. I just want to go through everything else first. All these other input series, the label, maximum bars to look back, bars minimum 20, those are all default. You don't need to touch those. Same with the historical fill processing and the order handling, all these defaults, you want to just keep as they are. Time in force, this one is good till close. If you want, you can change this to a day trade only. It'll stop trading at the end of the trading session. If you have it good till close, and you keep the strategy open, it'll run and fire up on the next start time. So when you have all your criteria entered, you want to change this to true, and so this will put that when this is enabled, this will put this in the strategy tab. So we go to our strategy tab, and we can see we have our Canadian dollar sell DIR fade strategy, and it's enabled. And so now this strategy will be on our strategy list. I've got a portfolio of just general strategies, and so what I can do then is create specific strategies. This is a function of NinjaTrader 7, of how it works and how we can display things, and so this is how it's done, and this is the best solution to see and create a portfolio. So I do recommend that you're identifying the contract, you have the strategies that you like to run, and then you can come from this menu and you can come and just check off and enable them. So once you've gone through and you've created all your strategies, this is basically your dashboard of where you can enable those strategies to trade. So here I have my working orders. I've got one at 32 and one at 31. Kind of tight here. I'm going to move one up just to spread them out a little bit. And so now I'll have one working off the alert distance and one working off the variance on a pullback. So again, we have a separate chart for each strategy. So here I have the three strategies I'm running. I've got two S&P strategies. I've got my sell UP fade and my buy UP fade that I'm running, and I also have a Canadian dollar sell DIR fade that's currently working. So I've got on these two strategies have no positions, and this strategy does. So, and here's my chart. So this chart I can move back and forth, and it's not going to affect the strategies. If you change the contract symbol on one of these charts, it will break the algo, and if you have a position, you'll have to manually trade out of it. So again, you have to have one chart for one strategy. You can save that strategy and create a portfolio, and you can name it so you can see where it is, and then you can enable it when you want to use it. So after you configure them, you can come to File and you can create a workspace. I've called this Playbook Assistant, and you say OK. And then whenever so this will save all these templates here, and so every day when you come in, you'll have your portfolio of auto templates that you like to use, and you just come in and you can go through the playbook. You can identify markets that are interesting. You can go through the playbook and come through and identify markets that are interesting. If you have a strategy already created, you just go to the strategy tab and enable it. And if you don't, you can go then and create that strategy on the fly and run it. And then just use the control center to monitor your positions, what orders you're working. If you want to make order adjustments, you can do it here as I've shown you. Here's all your strategies. If you want to open up your strategy bigger to see where the orders are placed. So now we have a second order here, an exit target, two entry orders. They both were filled, and I have two exits. You can also see my stops. So my stops are below that structure point, so that's good. I may want to even put it a tick lower. And my other stop is here in front of the figure, so that might be another one that I might want to either adjust down or adjust up. So I'm going to change the 2410 to 0975, and I'm going to adjust this one up, get a little more aggressive on my stop. I don't think it should really come back below there, so I'm going to change this one to 2409 and change this one to 2409 and a quarter. So basically moving those stops up below this structure, so I can either risk more, risk less. I could even adjust it tighter. but this way you're helping the algos out. Here's how I have my dashboard set up. For chart viewing, you have your dynamic chart separate that you can make adjustments on and put indicators or trend lines or whatever you like to do with your chart. And then you have a separate chart that is running your algos, and you can watch the Playbook Assistant and monitor. Here my P&LS is up 25. My P&L high was at one time 175, and my P&L low was 237. So all within my thresholds of adjustments. I know that my high was made at 24.15, so when the market's here, that's my P&L high point. So I know that we get above here, that's really going to kind of start to engage that strategy and engage that profit. And I know that this was my kind of, at the moment, my squeeze low. If I want to make adjustments, I can do that by opening up the control panel, finding my orders and adjusting them. But more likely, you're just going to want to let your automated strategies play out. So for more information, go through the setup tutorial, and that'll take you through everything that we've gone over here. You can also contact us at info@JSServices.com and attend one of our Strategy Lab sessions. Look forward to working with you.